All of this boils down to this one thing. Are the people of the city of Flint healthy? No. Why? Because of water-borne illnesses. Now, the narrative of Mayor Weaver was and has been and still is, all monies coming into the city should go through into the foundations. The foundations then divvy out between themselves $600 and some million. And then they say that the children 0 to 6 years old within the city of Flint are going to have lifetime medical care. They're going to have a special school that they can go to. I disagree with this special school. I think that those kids ought to be allowed to go to a regular, normal school just like any other kid in America. And it doesn't matter that they've been lead poisoned or not. They are mentally handicapped. So what? You did it. Deal with it. We're going to have to deal with these children now. It's our responsibility. You won't take the responsibility. We do take the responsibility very seriously. Okay? So let me be perfectly clear. The people that are involved in Flint and advocating for the people of Flint take their children's health very seriously. We're not in the spotlight. We're not in Hollywood. We're not getting awards or accolades, and we're not asking for that. But we are asking for safety for our children for the next 35 years. In order to get to that point, we're going to have to do some things that are unfriendly to the government.
Can I just point out, before I ask my next question, I've seen some scary shit over the last 2 years. I've seen police officers tear gassing people. I've seen, I just got arrested for doing journalism. Most things don't scare me, not because I'm brave, but I'm probably just stupid. This man and his face just now scared the living bejesus out of me. And the reason I say that is because when government shits on its people, when government poisons its people, when government basically allows genocide of its people, people get angry. That's how you get fascists elected to office, which I think we're seeing right now. People get angry and they take actions into their own hands. I'm not calling for any violence, but the people of Flint are rightly angry because they're being, there's the government story and the EPA story that things are just hunky-dory, and then there's people on the ground who know that is propaganda bullshit. So I think what Bruce was just saying reflects a lot of the feeling here. They are living it. They smell their water. Somebody just said it smells like a wet dog and chlorine. Or people who are still telling me they get discolored water. But if your testing only looks at certain homes, if your testing looks at homes that might have not been that old, if your testing looks at homes that weren't hit the hardest as opposed to other areas, you could find whatever the hell you want to find. Sorry for that.
I want to, again, I'm going to step up and say the people of the city, citizens in the city of Flint. I have heard people from college degree and with very, very good amounts of education. I have heard them make the most ridiculous comments about the people of the city of Flint.
Give me an example.
They're too dumb to know how to treat their own damn water. They're too stupid to know how to run their own water plant.
Well, last time I checked, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, which are supposed to be the brainiacs, were the ones that poisoned you.
Thank you. So my comment to that was and is, with all the money that's coming in here, how come nobody's put a program together to train water treatment operators? We could train water treatment operators and send them all over the United States of America and the world. Okay, how come nobody's doing that here? How come in all the education and all the funding that's going on, there's no programs to empower and lift people into the system rather than shuttling them into a corner? Have you ever been to a stock market? Okay, so then when cattle come in, they come in cars and they go down the chutes and then they go out in the areas and they,
Oh, I thought you were talking about Wall Street.
I'm sorry. Well, okay, well,
Yeah.
that's basically here in Flint, okay? As long as you're willing to be part of the herd and get in that and stay in that herd, and don't get out of line. Don't step out of that. Don't stampede for your own self, okay? You're going to get cabbage, carrots, apples, and oranges. You're going to get given a list of where all the food giveaway places are. You're going to be given a list of where all the charity, okay, is taking to give you things that you obviously don't have, okay? So you got to take a look at what's being handed to the citizens of Flint, okay? The citizens of Flint are very, very capable people. Anybody that can withstand the forces that have been up against these people over the past 3 years and still be standing, they deserve an award. The people of the city of Flint deserve to be recognized for their citizenship, for their democratic procedures, and for fighting for democracy for them, for their rights, for their children's rights. They ought to be recognized, but they're not. Not a word. Not a word from the president, the vice president, not even a word from any of their own elected representatives. Shame on you all. These people deserve your gratitude. They deserve your help. They need you. Lord knows I have gone to many churches here, and I have seen and witnessed many people come to the churches here seeking the support of these people to put you in the offices of high esteem that you hold. You have a duty, a due diligence. I don't feel that you are acting in accordance to the position of your office and the power of the authority that the office holds. I think that you're hiding. I think you're cowering. I think you're taking the easy road. And I think you need to come here and do the right thing, which is, as Mr. Dan Kildee said, you got to shrink that city, and you got to shrink these cities that are out there, and you got to shrink this blight. And I think he's right. You do have to shrink this city. You got to take the 600 miles of pipes, and you got to put 300 miles of pipe that are worth something to make the system functional for the 90,000 people that you want to pay for it for the next 30 years. And if you're not willing to do that, then you need to step down.
Yes, sir.
All of you.
Bruce, I want to get into specifics here because big problem, like I said, the media just kind of regurgitates what certain scientists say is true. So we have reports now that the testing shows lead is under the allowable limit, and the testing says Flint is now back to normal ranges for lead. But lead isn't the only threat. Lead pipes are not the only threat, and that gets zero media attention. So what do we have here?
We have a galvanized, it looks like about 3¼ inch pipe, water pipe.
Tell the audience what's the difference in galvanized and lead.
The difference between galvanized and lead, that this has a zinc coating is in steel. Lead is a pure soft metal. The lead that's relevant, when we have the lead issues here, you have to be consistent with this. The corrosion and lack of corrosion created the dispersion of lead, okay, through the solder being washed out of the fittings in the people's homes. This is what gave the immense amount of lead spike through the city. The sediments that were pushed off the pipes from lack of corrosion control in the basement, if you would, underground, all of that sediment came up and into people's homes, and it's still there.
Wait. I just want to point out what Ty is looking at on the floor right now is the sediment that poured out of this pipe that I'm showing you. So that brown shit, I don't even know if it's brown, that stuff is from this pipe.
Don't let anybody tell you that that's a normal deposit of iron or a normal mineral deposit of hard water. That is city water.
But I want to be fair. So this pipe, Tony, this was taken out in 2015?
Yeah, right here.
Right. So this pipe was taken out in 2015 before they were adding, they added in the phosphates and all this stuff. So this pipe probably isn't the best example because it's not a recent pipe. However, there are galvanized pipes still in the system. Not all service line pipes are only lead. Most of them are lead, could be lead from the main in the street to the valve, and then from the valve, which is where they come to turn it off if you stop paying your water bill, from the valve to the actual home, a lot of them are galvanized. And galvanized is incredibly hard, and Mark Edwards, the Virginia Tech scientist, said that it's incredibly hard to recoat. Recoat meaning to basically stop lead from leaching. Because galvanized pipes have lead sponge to it. Am I getting that wrong?
No.
So, damn, that sounds smart. So, bottom line is, you could change the lead service lines, but if you're not changing the whole thing, and there are still galvanized pipes in the system, galvanized pipes in the system, the galvanized are still leaching lead.
Can I say something to that real quick?
Sure.
This
Come over closer.
This house was built in 1917. All these houses on this street and in this neighborhood are full of galvanized. No one's even talking about how much is that going to cost and who's going to pay that cost. See, you're talking about all the connections and everything that's going on. I'm going to get stuck with this pipe, just like it used to be. The city was liable all the way to the house.
You're talking about the home, the pipes
the
in the
home
home
itself and all the other things that's damaged. No one's compensating me at all or my family. We had to suck through that. That's coming into our lives. That was put on us. They need to compensate and take care of it and make sure there's going to be more money needed. They got to have the plumbers in here.
But to be clear, the state and the city that are changing these service lines on the street, they're not changing the pipes in your home, which means even if the service lines are changed, if you still have really corroded pipes in your home, which were corroded further by the toxic Flint River water.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the water heaters and the washing machines and the dishwashers and the shit that's still laying in there. Go ahead. Thanks.
Well, the city of Lansing, for 10 years, has been they've been going through a lead remediation program in their city, and it's taken about 10 years to change the lead service lines. Okay, and they changed the lead service lines without a water problem. If you follow what I'm saying, when I say that, I mean they didn't have any sudden splurge of crap go through their pipes. They didn't have a sudden a lack of corrosion control. Okay, they just knew that the pipes were lead, and that's not a good scenario. Okay, and there was funding available. There were jobs to be had. Listen to me. There was funding available, and there were jobs to be had. Operating engineers, plumbers, laborers, electricians, everybody, the gas company, everybody that's involved with anything in the underlayment of understructure. 10 years, okay, worth of funding meant that for 10 years, the workers were taking home a paycheck, and the city was receiving a new system, okay, without the abstract of lead in their service lines. Now here in Flint, the Register of Deeds office, okay, John Gleason's office, has a Register of Deeds that go well back in the 1800s. And on the Register of Deeds, right at the top, on the title of the LIBOR number of the property and description and so forth, is a little statement there about the service lines that connected from the street to the house, whether it was galvanized or lead. And it says right on it, galvanized or lead. It doesn't say galvanized and lead. It doesn't say all lead. It doesn't say all galvanized. It says galvanized or lead. It doesn't even say copper. It says galvanized or lead. Well, his office has probably 20,000 identifiers within the city of Flint. And when John Gleason went to the Mayor Weaver and said, I have a list of where the lead lines are and the galvanized lines are, you may want to take a look at it. She never gave him time of the day. None of her people gave him his office the time of the day about it. Now, I think that was a serious mistake, because right here within our own record keeping, within our own description, we have a person that can identify at least 15 to 20,000 lines immediately. We don't have to guess about them. And so the fast track, okay, you got 30,000 homes, let's say, that you're going to go through. Well, I'm telling you, you got 18 to 28 weeks, you know, to really attack the problem in the construction side of it, and that's with good weather. And the fast track program producing 900 to 2,000, I forget what it was, what the last number was, 2,300 within 3 years. Who are they kidding? In a construction industry, that wouldn't happen. With the building trades, and I'm saying this because you have the experts. You have expertise coming in. You have people that know what they're doing. You don't have unlicensed plumbers. You don't have unlicensed contractors. Just because Uncle Bob died, left you the backhoe, meant that you know how to drive a backhoe because you jumped on it for 5 minutes. Now you just went down and ripped up the gas line. You just cut through the fiber optic system. You shut down the hospital. You shut down the whole damn street. That's not progress. Okay? So what I'm saying here is this, that the city of Flint has had 3 years to show its initiative to get the job done. And they have failed horribly. The people are not getting the help, the delivery of services that the city owes them.
Yes, sir.
I want to get to the root of that, because you mentioned Lansing. Another place that did preemptive lead service line changes was Ann Arbor, Michigan, where Governor Snyder, I think, has an apartment or his house or who knows. I don't know about Lansing, but I do know Ann Arbor is a lot wealthier than Flint, mostly white folk. Lansing's probably wealthier than Flint. By the last number I saw, Flint's hovering between 42 and 50% poverty. I live on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. I don't live on Park Avenue, which is really bougie.
How far is Flint from Lansing?
About 40 minutes.
Okay. Do you know it took almost what was it, 18 months? No, how long did it take? How long did it take the governor to get from Lansing to here? About 18 months.
18 months. I think it was horse and carriage. Let's
Okay.
talk about that whole Ferguson.
I just want to point that out. Okay, that in another instance, and not to pick apples and oranges, but I guess maybe I should. The governor in Ohio. Okay, when he had a water emergency come up, boy, he was right on top of that stuff, and he said, whoa. He said, this is how we're going to do it, and this is how it's going to get done, and when it's going to get done. He issued the emergency, he issued the declarations, and he put the people to work, and he took care of it. He stepped in. He didn't step away from it. He didn't run away from it. He didn't hesitate for it. None of it. Okay? This governor here sat in his office and played patsy. He played a game of words. Well, what's the state say? I mean, what does the EPA say? What's the DEQ say? Well, they'll say whatever you want them to say, sir. Okay? What about the two people that he let go of right in the very beginning of this that nobody can get any edgewise of who they were? Okay? It's two aides. Well, I'm suggesting in my mind right now that the gentleman that came out and refuted what the governor said about his timeline on the Legionella here in Flint. Okay?
Harvey Harrison.
Yeah. He said, well, we had discussions in December. Okay? Well, that kind of goes in line with the Clorox and the Myers supplying the filters. Okay? Now, that lineup took a phone call. That wasn't here in Flint. That was a phone call made from Lansing to California
To get filters.
to get
Flint.
filters lined up for the Flint pastors. Not Flint, the Flint pastors. Okay? And so this is where we come into the timelines of when the emails came through about the Legionella as far as being a very real concern here. The very first time it was mentioned, this gentleman is saying, I was an aide and I mentioned it to him in December.